Come with me this morning to Gauteng. More specifically, come with me to the East Rand. We're going to go to Rietfontein Road, and we're going to go to Rondebolt and to Boksburg and to Springs. I want to introduce you to a pastor who faithfully ministered in the East Rand. Married with 2 young children, and they lived happily in their home. But in March, he went to hospital for an operation. And there were some complications, and from March to December, he was very ill. Fortunately, the pastor in the church had provided for the family, and they joined the BUA retirement fund in February before he went into the hospital. In December, he passed away. They owed the bank the outstanding bond on their home. And if they did not pay it, the bank would be forced to sell it. Where would they live? Well, within a few days of his death, the BUA retirement fund had paid out the life cover, and the wife was able to pay the bank off, and now his family lives in a debt-free home. This is important because we're looking at small churches with small budgets who have pastors and perhaps support missionaries and church planters. These folks have dependents. The problem is that in the event of death, who will care for the dependents? Second problem is, will the church provide for the family? They were living in the manse. And the church could afford them to stay in the manse for a while, but unfortunately they have to move out because we need to provide for the new pastor. Third problem is that, yes, folks recognize that I must get some life insurance and it can be very expensive. But there's also another problem. My health is not good. I might be on medication for hypertension or cancer. Yes. Heart failure. And you might be loaded with your mortality rates and becomes extremely expensive. Well, folks, for the last couple of years, the BUA Retirement Fund has been working on these particular problems. And I just want to highlight 2 very important things to you this morning. There is a solution. We have reduced the minimum contribution for the pastor to be about 210 Rand a month, and the church about 290 Rand a month, making a total of 500 Rand a month as an entry point. And I want to, without apology, urge you to consider what I'm speaking about. What do you get for 500 Rand a month? Well, you get group life cover, guaranteed group life cover. You don't apply for it, you register for it. That's a very important distinction, what I'm saying. Group life cover for 176,000 Rand. Monthly disability of 3,150 Rand, and you also get funeral benefits. Funeral benefits for the family, for the spouse. Even on the trustees, we had 2 brothers who lost their wives. They were paid out the funeral benefit immediately, within a few days, so that they could process the funeral. And on top of that, you do get retirement fund savings. Here is the competitive advantage that we have been working on for a couple of years, is that there's a medical free limit. We've been able to negotiate with underwriters up to 3.7 million Rand medical free limits, regardless of pre-existing conditions. They are all included. No underwriting, regardless of your health, immediate cover, and of course, cheap rates being on a group life. And this is very different to individual RAs or individual life assurance policies. Now, the question I must ask, has this repositioning, all this rebranding that we've been working on behind the scenes, has it worked? There are a number of role players in this process, a number of stakeholders, and we had to investigate every aspect of this repositioning. There are regulations that we've got to comply with, of course. We had to comply with the Baptist Union's vision of rebuilding and work in collaboration with the pastor's support team and be compliant with the new FSCA compliance. In fact, the 2 members of the fund have resigned because they have come to retirement age, and so we have had to look at a new principal officer and a new actuary. And I'm happy to tell you that we do have them in place already. We're delighted about that. We have to comply with ongoing education for every trustee. The FSCA demands that. And so they don't just sit around and have a cup of tea. We've got to educate ourselves with new regulations and new papers and so on that are coming on in the industry. We have to comply with SARS requirements. And I'm happy to tell you that every aspect of this fund complies with every single one of these role players. It doesn't just happen overnight. It's a lot of work behind the scenes to have this done. And I'm delighted, and I want to thank the trustees and all the role players for your assistance in this area. Friends, has this fund and this repositioning worked? Well, go back to 2022, have a look at the membership. Our membership stood at 186 members. And these 186 members were carrying the costs of this fund. Well, in 2023, membership is increased to 234. What does it mean? It means that the fixed costs of the fund remain the same, but the cost per member has reduced by 20%. What does this mean to you? A 20% saving means that more of your contribution goes to investment, therefore you get a bigger nest egg at retirement. This does not happen with individual retirement annuities. Those cost savings go to the shareholders. Another competitive advantage. Let's have a look at our strategic partners that we chose to do our investments. It's all very well having the life insurance, disability, and funeral benefits, but hey, give me some investments for retirement. Are our asset managers doing their job? Well, across the board, I'm happy to tell you that our investment managers are outperforming our peers by about 2% over a 1 year, 2 year, and a 3 year, and a 5 year. You might think, 2%, what's that? You know, it's nothing. Well, you accumulate that over a 5, 10, 15, 20-year period. That 2% can represent a significant better payout. Here we have our aggressive portfolio. The BUA Retirement Fund has had a 1 year 14.19, and competitors have had a 12% return. Over a 5 year period, 9%, and of the competitors being at 7.68. Well, have a look at other portfolios, some more conservative portfolios, the medium and the low equity portfolio. Across the board, that 2% differential is there. I think our asset managers are doing their job. Even in the lowest portfolio, the lowest risk portfolio, the stable portfolio, there is that 2% differential there too. We can comfortably say that, friends, your money is working hard. And our asset managers are making it happen. Without apology and with absolute confidence, I can tell you this morning that our BUA Retirement Fund is a top draw fund. A world-class fund run by world-class asset managers with superior returns. And we have made it affordable, brought all this worldwide status down to your place, making it affordable by virtue of our product design. It's flexible. This top draw product is for our Baptist Union. For those ministries associated with churches, member churches. We have offered this to the Afrikaanse Baptiste too, and they're looking at it as well. We've offered this to other ministries, paraministries attached to our member churches, and they are on board as well. So if you need registration forms for your church to talk about this at your meetings with your treasurer and your boards, my contact detail is on the booklet, or in the booklet that you have received in your packs. Drop me an email, and I'll be happy to send you the information and the registration forms so that you can talk about this at your meetings. Finally, I want to ask you this question. Can your family afford you ignoring this any longer? Thank you. There might be some questions I forgot to ask.
But we will take a few questions. Just a very short number of questions, please. We cannot have time for many. But if there's any questions for Brian while he's here, please come up to the podium.
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, you must come to the front, so please,
right.
and announce yourself.
Sorry.
Just the rules of the assembly, unfortunately. And will you just please state your name and the church that you are from before you talk, so that the minute takers can recognize you?
Naftal Buthelezi from Tonga Central Baptist Church. It's only one question, bro. Only one question. Who are the asset managers of this fund? I can see that it's really doing well. Who are the asset managers?
The asset managers, now you're going to catch me. Patricia, where are you? Can you help me? Sasfin. Now, I wasn't sure if it was Sasfin because there's divisions in Sasfin. So the simple answer is Sasfin. S-A-S-F-I-N. You're welcome to Google them. In fact, you Google them, you will find that they have been receiving wonderful Blue Bull rewards, which, by the way, they compete with the Stan Libs, the Sunlums, the Old Mutuals, the Liberties, and so on. These asset managers compete with those asset managers, and they're walking away with these Blue Bull awards every year. So I'm delighted to tell you that Sasfin is really doing a great job.
Are they South African based or
It's South African based, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions for Brian? I think there is a book table at the back with books that you can pick up. There's there, right there, sort of under that TV there. And you can take yourself a book. And there was also a book in the packs, am I correct, on the pension fund? All right, so there is information. And of course, you can phone Brian or any of the folk anytime you need to. That's what you have access. Folk, I must just say, I sit as a trustee. It is a well-run fund, retirement fund. I want to say, if you haven't joined, don't ask, can I afford it? I always say to people, can you afford not to?
Absolutely.
And so I really want you to consider, we've brought, as Brian has highlighted it, down right to the lowest level, that even the smallest church that hasn't got a great budget can afford to put their pastor on the retirement fund. And folk, I must just say as well, by this, you are, by the BU Constitution, all churches are required to take care of the retirement needs of their pastor. It's on our Constitution, and it is an imperative of the leadership of that church to look after their pastor. Brian, thank you very, very much. Thank you.